lurid vice presidential election has left the India bloc red-faced. Not only did they lose the ideological battle, as they had called it, but the high-stakes polls have left the opposition unity as they tried to project it to be in jeopardy and the cracks exposed. The Trinamool Congress has now come out all guns blazing, levelling explosive allegations against the BJP or the NDA, accusing it of buying votes to sway the outcome of the election. They claim a bribe of 15 to 20 crore rupees was paid to each MP. The BJP isn't taking the lying down either. In a sharp rebuttal, the party dismissed the allegations as political posturing and sour grapes. But can allegations take away from the numbers? Or are the allegations coming in hindsight post the numbers? Opposition MPs did vote in favour of NDA's candidate, bribe or no bribe. The charge remains to be proven. But doesn't this speak volumes about the opposition position, situation and unity itself? Is this another case of opposition frustration after an electoral setback? Or did the cracks within the party's alliance hand BJP the edge? Remember, all of this is also playing out in an overall atmosphere of charges of vote chori, although they were about elections proper, but they have now spilled onto the VP election as well. We'll be taking that up and more with our guest joining us in just a bit. But here is what the assessment within the NDA says. Who exactly voted in favour of them from the opposition parties? Mind you, there can be no clarity on this because these are secret ballots. There are actually no party whips enforced. Each MP can vote according to their own quote-unquote conscience. So the NDA believes that from the Aam Aadmi as many as 5, from the Shiv Sena UBT, which was their former ally, as many as 4, from even the Congress, 2, 1 from DMK, which could be a massive surprise if that is true, 1 from JMM, 1 from RJD and 1 from the National Communist Party, the Sharad Pawar faction as well, have voted for the NDA. As many as 15 votes that they are saying they have got more than were part of their side. Now, TMC has led the attack on the BJP for buying votes to achieve these kind of numbers. Abhishek Banerjee alleged BJP bought votes for 15 to 20 crore rupees each, to which the BJP asked if their own leaders were on sale. Is this an admission that yes, their leaders and their votes can be bought? Although there is not so much focus on whether TMC MPs cross-voted or not. On the charge of buying votes, BJP says the truth is out in the open. That the opposition MPs cross-voted. This is just political posturing, as I mentioned earlier. But TMC says that elected representatives are selling people's trust, which could be an indictment of its own leaders or MPs of the India bloc themselves, if they did indeed voted against party lines, whether for money or otherwise. The BJP, of course, simply says, prove it. Is there any proof to suggest that any money exchanged hands? A reminder of how the elections panned out. In fact, around 15 votes were declared invalid, which in itself could be suspected to be willful by some opposition MPs, as it is clear their numbers went down. Apart from that, the opposition candidate gathered only 300 votes against 315, which the India bloc was expecting. So did 15 opposition MPs vote against party line? Continues to be the big question. But in all of this, the question we're asking today is simply this. As far as this allegation is concerned, was it cross-voting or vote chori, as the opposition says? Is the opposition charge sticking, or is it indeed sour grapes or crying wolf where there isn't any? That debate is coming up.
মানুষের আবেগ তো বিক্রি হয় না, জনপ্রতিনিধি বিক্রি হতে পারে, জনতা বিক্রি হয় না।
मैं समझता हूं कि उनके जो सूत्र हैं उन्होंने कहा है,
ये नेता बिकाऊ है या टिकाऊ है? अपने ही नेताओं पर इतना बड़ा प्रश्न चिन्ह खड़े करना, अगर ये बिकाऊ है तो टिकट क्यों दिया है?
पूरे देश में नारा चल रहा है, वोट चोर, गद्दी चोर का नारा चल रहा है।
अगर उसमें जरा सी भी सच्चाई है तो जो इंडिया ब्लॉक के घटक दल हैं उनको इसकी तय में बहुत बारीकी से जाना चाहिए।
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Sujata Paul of the Congress Party, Tausifur Rahman, spokesperson of the TMC, and Karan Verma, political analyst with us. We're also expecting Siddharth Yadav of the BJP to be joining us soon. Tausif, I begin with you. It seems like a self-goal if you're suggesting that opposition MPs were bought for as little as 15 to 20 crore rupees to vote in favor of the NDA candidate. I mean, this doesn't speak very highly of your own position, of your own situation.
Good evening to everyone. Why? I don't think so there's any problem if we are talking about this, because my National General Secretary, Shri Abhishek Banerjee, said that there was a horse trading and 15 to 20 crore was spent on each person to buy votes. What proofs do you want? But not to forget, you can buy those representatives, but not people in general. And what proofs do you want again? We have seen this before every time, how BJP is playing the game of money in 2021 assembly election and in the Maharashtra and Jharkhand assembly elections as well.
But none of those allegations have been proven, right? I'm not suggesting that quote-unquote horse trading doesn't happen. It may indeed be an ugly reality of Indian politics, but none of those allegations have been proven. The point here is, you are suggesting that opposition MPs sold their vote for 15-20 crore rupees, parliamentarians. That's an indictment of the opposition politics, isn't it?
No, if you talk about cross-voting, it's hard to say whether it was a cross-voting or opposition votes were discarded. Certain parties like AAP, where a woman MP openly supports BJP and spokes away against Arvind Kejriwal. This brings a lot of speculations. These are so many elections wherein the tussle of money MLAs have been bought and sold and government have collapsed, Shivani. In 2024,
this wasn't about government. No, I'm not understanding. Once again, this wasn't about government. This was a losing election. Once again, this was a losing election to begin with for the opposition. Yes, the numbers were not in their favor. You're not answering the central question I'm asking. What does it say of your own party members or alliance members, MPs, if they were willing to sell their vote? That is your own allegation.
My party, I don't think so. We are talking about my party.
Not your party, but let's say the other opposition members.
You have to rectify that. The TMC is not going anywhere. TMC is not discarded. TMC is not in the horse trading. TMC has not sold its sword. So we were there. We are talking about the opposition, whether the votes have been discarded, because it was a secret ballot voting, Shivani. It's a very important thing. And if you want me to compare, this is why I'm giving you 2024 before the voting day. They tried to buy the polling agents, paying 5,000 to some and 10,000 to others as well. So these are like muscle memories. ये अपने हरकत से कभी बाज नहीं आएंगे. They spent thousands of rupees buying polling agents, but the people of Bengal voted for Trinamool. I'm just giving an example, nothing else.
Okay.
If you talk about 2005, whether it is vice president election, president election, or Pradhan Mantri election, or Panchayat election, the kind of vote chori and gaddi chori that has gone into the blood of BJP, they are not going to stop anywhere soon. So this is why the speculations are there.
Speculations are there. Okay. If you're going to put it as speculations, fair enough. I think everybody is free to put whatever speculation is out there. But for political charges to be taken seriously, there's also this whole story about crying wolf too many times. Already a massive vote chori campaign is on ground when it comes to actual elections, proper elections. If for every election and for every defeat, the opposition starts saying, oh, people were bought or votes were bought or votes were cut, MPs were bought, MLAs were bought, then, the whole seriousness of that allegation loses some of its weight. I'll come back to you. Siddharth Yadav is also with us, but before that, Sujata Paul, I'm sure the India bloc is worried about why it couldn't garner the numbers that it was confident of. But is it fair to suggest that parliamentarians were bought? Could they not have voted as opposition itself said, according to their conscience? Maybe they weren't in favor of the opposition alliance candidate. They voted because they felt they want to go with the NDA candidate instead. Looks like I've lost that link with her. But let me go across to Siddharth Yadav. Siddharth Yadav, the TMC says that this is in the BJP's blood. So no matter what the election, you always try to pull these dirty tricks because you want to play this one-upmanship game, and money is, of course, of no great recourse for you as being the party in power.
No, Shivani, I think what is in the blood of the opposition is always crying foul, always not trying to take the blame, always coming up with excuses, and always trying to save their leader who does not want to take the responsibility. That's what is in the blood of the opposition. And this is so dangerous and now this has crossed all limits, that even for a election for a post of a constitutional post like a vice president election, the opposition is continuing with their same rant. When the opposition from the very beginning was saying that the elected representatives, the MPs, should vote on their conscience, and when finally the MPs have voted on their conscience, then what is the problem? If the opposition, if the MPs are cross voting or don't want to support your agenda or don't want to support your candidate, this is not something which is new. We had the absolute numbers, we didn't require anybody. We have clear majority in both houses. Collectively we had very clear mandate. The clear mandate was would have been anyway reflected in the results. If opposition MPs would want to come out and vote on their conscience and would not want to support a candidate which was fielded by the opposition and would rather want to support CB Radhakrishnan ji, the candidate of the NDA, then who can stop them? But you want to come up with this rant because you don't want to take the onus, you don't want to take the blame of the kind of candidate you came up with. You don't want to take the blame of the kind that rift that is there in the India Alliance. You don't want to take the blame of what happens internally in your party. Everybody knows, and it's out in open. There are few MPs who are elected in Rajya Sabha from few political parties, don't support those political parties. They voted, someone else voted. Probably, your top
But it
leaders
was a
voted.
number
Who
game,
knows?
no?
It's definitely a secret ballot, and it has always been a secret ballot. This was not the first time it was a secret ballot. But what is first time in the history of our democracy is that there's a leader named Rahul Gandhi who leads an alliance called India Alliance, who's the leader of opposition, who just cannot pop his bubble. He's living in a bubble. He wants to continue with his rant. He just wants to say, oh, there's some chori happening. I don't know what that chori is.
But
He has, of course, talked about Chori, although I don't think he said it in
in.
context of the VP elections. The questions asked to him were on VP elections, but he has obviously talked about vote Chori, his larger campaign that he has been mounting in context of Bihar, Karnataka, even Maharashtra earlier. Sujata Paul is back with us. Sujata Paul, there is an allegation that it has become a reflex for the opposition to cry foul and not accept their numbers, their defeat, their results, just because, it's not favorable. I'm going to Sujata Paul, please. Just because those numbers were not favorable, and everything in hindsight cannot be that it was a vote chori.
The fact remains that as far as vote chori is concerned, that is happening across the country. Now, this election has been very, very, honestly speaking, it has been encouraging, because in the last 20 years, the data shows that we have come so close to the victory margin. And why I'm saying that is that from 2002 to now, if you look at it, we were very far behind each time elections took place. So if you talk about 2002 elections, Mr. Shekhawat at that time, or even the 2022 elections, if you see the margin, it's very different. So coming from 26% to 40%, that itself should be...
But then why undercut your own progress by calling it vote chori?
We are not calling it vote chori at all. Don't mix up what we are saying with what our allies are saying, and everybody has the right to say what they want to. This is a democracy. And if there are any doubts, they have a right to place their doubts before the public. Now, as far as the Congress party is concerned, from Mr. Kharge to Mr. Jairam Ramesh and a lot of other leaders who have tweeted about it. And they are all positive tweets, and I hope that you will show what they have said. So
you are not in agreement with this allegation that votes were bought, because that's, as I said, an indictment of the opposition MPs themselves. If they cross-voted for money, clearly some cross-voting happened. I'll come to that in just a bit. But you don't believe that this cross-voting happened because any money changed hands, as the TMC is alleging.
Look, as far as the cross-voting is concerned, there was no whim. And of course, the fact remains that if there are people who voted for the BJP, you all yourself conducted a whole lot of debates where the BJP spokespersons were saying that they were trying to get in touch with the opposition parliamentarians. So that itself shows that, this is not a fair and just way of conducting elections of the second highest constitutional post.
Why? One second. Why was it not fair and just?
I'll tell you, because every leader, whether it was Mr. Radhakrishnan or Mr. Reddy, they should have been putting forth their views, and then the parliamentarians should have decided.
But that's what
that
happened.
is not the truth of that is not the truth of our politics, and that I admit to it. But what I'm saying is,
No, but that's
I
what
hope
happened.
we
They
can
did
take-
put their views
No,
forward.
I hope that the BJP has been saying
Both
that
blocks
our
supported
leaders
their
are here, they
candidates.
are getting
Both
in-
blocks,
No,
ma'am,
Shivani.
Sujata Paul.
They were getting
It's
in
not
touch
just
with
that the
various
NDA
people of
appealed
the
to opposition to support their candidate. Even Congress party said, you wait and see. A lot of people will vote for us. And Congress party first brought in the element of cross-voting, saying, we expect NDA MPs to vote for our candidate. So let's not question whether the election was fair or
you're
just.
wrong. No, you're wrong there, because there can be no cross voting. You cannot call it cross voting because
Fair enough.
there was
You
no
may
whip
squabble
over there.
as far as the technical
Yes.
term here is concerned. For easy
So these
consumption,
are
we are
facts.
calling
We
it
have to go by
cross-voting.
the technical terms and
Because here
truths.
there is no party
We
whip,
have to.
etc. So it's not technically cross-voting. That's separate. But are you not worried, before I go to Karan as well, are you not worried? Ma'am, Manish Tewari of your party says, clearly you didn't get the numbers you were expecting, right? Whether it's 5, 10, 15, it doesn't really matter. It's about face, right? This was an ideological battle. It was a political point that Congress and others wanted to score. In that, you failed because clearly your numbers were not up to the mark. He's saying there should be an internal
not at
assessment on that.
What are you saying? I'm going on telling you that from 26% in the last elections, we got 40% votes this time. Isn't that a huge jump? And this is the closest we've got in 20 years. Please remember that. And what we are saying is an internal thing that we need to investigate it and how this happened and why this happened.
Are you
There
not
are
worried
no,
about that? Okay, fair enough. But are you not worried
course.
that some of your MPs
Of
didn't vote for
course.
your candidate?
So of course, that is a cause for worry. Who says it isn't? Because we need to find out how this happened, why this happened. That why in the times of the ED and the CBI IT is important, and we will get down to it.
Okay, I'll come
But
to the ED and CBI in just a bit with Siddharth. But Karan Verma, the point is, are these allegations sticking? You know, this is happening in the larger context of this entire vote chori campaign on ground. When it comes to upcoming elections in Bihar, SIR exercise, but also past elections in Maharashtra and Karnataka. Is any of this sticking? Or with every election, if the opposition keeps reflexing to this charge that, elections are somehow not free and fair, is this going to make any impact on ground?
I hope it doesn't, Shivani, because frankly, it's a very sacred institution, and the way they've been casting aspersions baselessly and aimlessly, without substantiating it, without even giving it in a written affidavit, it will be pathetic if it sticks. I don't mind election integrity and all of that, but provided there is an affidavit, provided your BLA, your booth level agents register some sort of a complaint. If you are not going to follow the norms, if you are going to follow this anarchist route, then I don't want that to stick, and I don't think it will stick. The people of this country are far more intelligent, and I would give it to the media also. The media has done a terrific job of being objective about it. B.N. Rajanna, their own Karnataka Congress minister, asked them, what are you talking? It was our government in Karnataka which cooperated with the election officials. Our BLA agents did not give any complaints. Rahul Gandhi keeps flip-flopping. Sometimes he says 70 lakh voters badh gaye. Sometimes he comes to 39 lakhs. You can't be, Rangta Devi and all these instances. We saw that. How they were coercing people to speak something in front of the camera. So they stand exposed. But as far as this cross-voting is concerned, Shivani, this is not the first time. It happened in case of Ajay Makan. They were bewildered what really happened. It happened in the case of Abhishek Manu Singhvi. This is the typical Congress party. They are disillusioned. There are so many in their rank and file, not just the Congress party, but the opposition, who are disgruntled today. They are disgruntled, disillusioned, and therefore disjointed. So this is pretty much what happens with the Congress from years. But you can't explain that to the Congress spokesperson. They are living in a la-la land where they believe we've jumped from 26 to 40%. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Okay, Sujata Paul.
I remember Supriya Shine doing this after getting 99 seats. So if you are happy with these moral victories, good enough for you.
Put my views forward before you, and your political analyst only has the Congress party to attack. What the Congress party is saying is congratulations to Mr. Radhakrishnan, and the shoes that he has stepped into are very, very huge ones. And I hope that what happened to Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar will stay on his mind and will play on his mind to ensure that he stands for both sides, because now he is bipartisan. He is supposed to belong to every party. That is our only concern now. And I'm sure that is going to happen. Because you live by hope. You don't die by hope.
Okay, but can I just come in? Karan, I'll come back to you. Just give me a second. Because Sujata Paul, I'm talking about this larger issue here. You are saying you are not fully in agreement with what the TMC is saying. This again has been debated ad nauseum, that each individual party in India bloc keeps making very different statements. They talk in different tongues. It takes away from your central message. We've seen that happening in the past. But if every time the excuse is that, oh, somebody did some ghapla, which is why we couldn't perform.
But Shivani,
We expected this, we had this expectation. Tasif, coming to you, we have time. If every time this allegation is made, it takes away from the credibility of the opposition as a serious opposition or a serious contender. Sujata Paul first, then Tasif can come in.
Not at all. We do not live in a dictatorial democracy which exists in the BJP, begins with the Prime Minister and ends on him. We live in a democracy and everybody has a right to voice their opinions, and if there are evidence, to place before you. But if there are any doubts, then clearly those doubts have to be put forward, and it is this country which has given this right. It is Baba Saheb's constitution which has given us this right.
Doubts is one thing, but if on every occasion the blame is put on somebody else's door, whether it's the EC or the BJP or somebody else, it comes across that you are not learning your lessons. You are instead, I don't want to use the term la la land, but instead you are just, reinforcing your own echo chamber that हमारे यहाँ सब कुछ सही है, कुछ भी problem है, कोई भी गड़बड़ है तो कहीं और है.
नहीं, Shivani ji, you can be rest assured that the country is resonating with the vote Chori campaign of ours. That is a different issue, and you should be concentrating on the VP issue today, right? So I'm also concentrating basically on that. So these two issues should be considered separately, and if there will be
but the term vote Chori has been used now commonly for both. Which is why this mixed messaging is happening, where it is coming across, Karan Verma, I'll allow you a minute to finish your point, where it's coming across as if the opposition is now making the same vote Chori allegation for VP elections. You are saying Congress is not on board with that, but that's how it's coming across, because the same tagline has been used for both elections. Karan Verma first, then Tasif. Yes.
So Shivani, I would like to put this on record. I can't play it because it's of a different network. Rahul Gandhi yesterday said vote chori when he was asked about the VP polls. Then it was asked, kya isme bhi? He said yes. So it is as crystal clear and as categorical as it gets. You can please check and put that on record. So Rahul Gandhi minced absolutely no words. Maybe Sujata Paul ji did not get it right. He was very clear that vote chori happened in vice presidential polls as well. He was asked again, kya VP chunav mein bhi? He said yes. That is what he said on record. And I am not surprised. I am absolutely not surprised, because Rahul Gandhi believes in the policy, accept nothing, deny everything. That is what their modus operandi is. They are not going to accept that we've done anything wrong. We may have lost 93 elections, but everything is absolutely prim and proper in our house.
Okay, and is the age being set? Sujata ma'am, 1 second, Tasif has been waiting. This erodes the credibility of the opposition if for every defeat you somehow allege that some sort of conspiracy has played out. Tasif.
शिवानी, you spoke about घपला हो रहा है तभी तो बातें हो रही हैं. अगर घपला नहीं होता तो आज ईसी इतना क्यों चिल्लाता? आज तो ईसी भाजपा कमिश्नर ऑफ इंडिया बन के बैठा हुआ है. So there is some conspiracy, there is some mystery going on, and we need to raise questions. Where are we going wrong? It's our right. I mean, let me tell you one theory, speculation as well. One theory, like if the opposition members voted and if all 15 opposition votes were discarded, then cross-voting could not have happened. If you consider a 50-50 split, then it may be that 5 to 7 people cross-voted. I mean, why can't we ask question? If you talk about India Alliance, Shivani, let me tell you, India Alliance is not running by a Hitler like Narendra Modi. Okay?
What does that mean?
No, let me tell you. Because they are saying India Alliance disgruntled, India Alliance में अपनी कोई opinion नहीं होती. Of course, Congress will have their own opinion. Trinamool Congress will have their own opinion. We have a right to raise question where we have to keep silent, else we will be thrown out like Jagdip Dhankar ji. अरे इंडिया अलायंस से बीजेपी नहीं है. It's a family where everyone has their own point to put across.
Okay, you didn't answer my question.
Shivani,
all of your
30
contentions are that there is some chori happening, but there's no proof of that chori.
Shivani, let me address to the nation. Let me
Yes.
address to the nation.
Yes.
Because the way ex-VP resigned, it raises a lot of questions. Because the reason it's still like a mystery. Many of our youngsters don't even know who is the ex and the present VP of India. It's changed like a season. And घपला है तो हजार बार बात करेंगे. अगर 10 साल पहले घपला नहीं हुआ और अब नहीं होगा, that doesn't mean we don't raise questions. Like EC said, like we are in charge of this election since so many decades and nothing happened. If it's happening now, we have the rights to ask questions.
But if you're talking about the SIR issue, as far as the EC is concerned, nobody, even the Supreme Court, has not accepted that there is any malafide going on as far as the SIR is concerned. But I'll come to that issue on a day when I'm discussing SIR. Karan Verma, very quickly, Siddharth is waiting. Yes, Karan Verma.
No, if there is no problem with the electoral list, then why
can I please speak
One
now?
second. Tausif, SIR, I have debated in detail. I'll look forward to having you again on that issue because Bengal SIR is also a hotly debated topic these days. Yes, Karan.
Tausif, my friend, I never said people in the India Alliance don't have an opinion. My submission is everybody has an opinion and every opinion is different. So you've not understood the meaning of disgruntled.
No, you said disgruntled.
I don't mean you have an opinion. There is no unanimity. That is the problem. सब कुछ बोल रहे हैं.
There is everything.
There is nothing common.
बोलना जरूरी है.
House in order.
अपने अपने स्तर में बोलना बहुत जरूरी है. If you don't have an opinion, that means you have joined BJP.
वोट चोरी आप कह रहे हो, ये चोरी. भाई एक तरफ
तो if you don't have an opinion there on the forum, then you have joined BJP. Then you are under dictatorship of Amit Shah and Narendra Modi.
Okay. I think, once again, we are confusing two issues. The issue here is that when you are fighting an election like the VP election, this wasn't a state election where one party's narrative is different than the other party. Congress and TMC have fought elections against each other. That's a separate issue, right? Each party's individuality and its own character. When you're coming together in a bloc and fighting a VP election, then it is important that you at least are able to keep your flock together and are able to present a united front, are able to back your candidate to the hilt, where maybe you should have earned 2-3 votes extra, as the opposition was hoping. But anyways, that hasn't happened. Siddharth.
Just to do a horse trading, that's a problem.
Shivani, I've been very patiently.
Yes, go ahead.
I've been very patiently listening to all my friends, and I have 3-4 brief submissions to make. Number one is there is no doubt that the opposition alliance is very democratic, and why not so? They can call each other Chirkut Neta, Akhilesh Vakhilesh, what not. So this is, I think, the new age of democracy in alliance, where you don't even respect your partners. You can fight any election against each other, any election together. But this is for the India Alliance to decide for themselves. I don't want to comment on that. But I think some references were being made that CP Radhakrishnan ji will definitely have to fill in big shoes. And he'll have to remember he has a big office to fill in. Definitely, and I think not just him, but the next 5-7 vice presidents who are going to take office in this country will definitely remember what in 21st century one opposition tried to do with one vice president of our country. What kind of mimicry, what kind of shallow politics, what kind of low level of politics was displayed in the temple of democracy, in the parliament of our country by the likes of the TMC and Congress party. Every next person, every citizen who's going to take over that position will remember that this was also one phase in our democracy. But let me just tell you how a SAR loser looks like. Before the vice president election, it was the Congress party, the entire opposition, on every day, morning to evening, was saying, we will show you cross-voting, we will show you that the NDA will also vote for our candidate. Rather, the candidate from the opposition also came out and said that I appeal everybody, vote with your conscience, hear your conscience and vote. And I'm very sure that people are going to vote for me. But it was only until when the final results came out. It is same as one person, one boy who claims that I will score 10 goals, I will score 10 goals. When the other team scores 10 goals, he says, oh no, the match was all fixed. This was not a fair play. You can't be doing this in a democracy. You can't be following this. When you follow one thing, when you say one thing, and then that doesn't happen, you fail. You fail ideologically, you fail in an alliance manner, you fail to convince the people, and then you turn the tables and you come out and say, oh no, this was not a fair play at all. This is dangerous for our democracy, which Rahul Gandhi has to understand.
No,
he
also
is going
politically
to score
relevant is the question whether this is working on ground. Because if every election is going to be, called rigged, then there is a question mark whether the public is buying that narrative or not, and we'll discuss that in days to come, because clearly, as far as elections are concerned, the fairness of the elections are concerned, the opposition is not relenting on that issue. But I've run out of time for today. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Moving on, conservative activist and Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk was shot and killed on Wednesday afternoon while speaking at Utah Valley University. He was only 31. The fatal shooting occurred during Kirk's American Comeback Tour event. A single shot rang out, striking Kirk in the neck. He collapsed on stage as students screamed and fled. Law enforcement officials say the suspected shooter may have fired from a rooftop. Surveillance footage shows a figure in dark clothing, but no arrests have been made. The FBI has launched a tip line and is working with local authorities to track down the killer. Kirk leaves behind his wife Erica and 2 young children. His organization, Turning Point USA, has asked for prayers and privacy for the family.
Taking guns is the beginning of the end of the rest of your freedoms.
Having children is more important than having a good career. Well, I think that we should put Americans above foreigners. There's a revival happening in this country right now, Lawrence, and praise God.
Combative, clever, energetic, and just barely in his 30s, Charlie Kirk was a major link to younger voters for the political right. Praised by President Donald Trump as a key to retaking the White House.
Charlie is fantastic. I mean, this guy, don't believe this stuff when you hear the kids are liberal. They're not liberal. Maybe they used to be, but they're not anymore.
Growing up in a Chicago suburb, Kirk took to conservative ideas early, criticizing what he called liberal bias in education, minority hiring practices, and more, co-founding the right-wing political group Turning Point USA, and hitting the airwaves while still just a teenager.
A lot of kids are feeling the effects of what we like to call, with the Washington economy, with a lot of debt, plummeting small business, with higher regulation and high taxes.
When he did not get into West Point, Kirk dropped out of college and turned to political activism with a fury.
Universities are not about the pursuit of knowledge. They're about the forceful pushing of a left-wing worldview. White privilege is a racist myth that is rooted in bigotry, trying to classify people based on their skin color. If a woman is going to have an abortion, is it 50% the man's decision?
His outspoken ways drew a huge following and fierce opposition.
You spread hate, you spread lies, we see Nazis in disguise.
How do you feel about being called a fascist? What's your opinion on that?
I don't care being lied about.
Why is it a lie?
Because I'm not a fascist. I believe in a free society. Let me ask you, who's the fascist? The guy that's smiling in the sun, or the 500 people barking trying to prevent me from speaking?
Through it all, the married father of 2 engaged with not just political friends, but also foes, forever spreading a gospel of more.
In order to create more conservatives and more people who love the country, you need to have the 3 M's. Young people need to get married, they need to mate, and get a mortgage. The 3 M's are 3 things the Democrat Party is against.
Now, none other than President Donald Trump himself confirmed Kirk's death, even as speculation was rife after the assassination, calling him a legendary patriot and ordering flags nationwide to be flown at half-staff until Sunday.
Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. Radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives.
Let's go across to our guest. Joining us, Ashok Sajjanar is former Indian diplomat, and Sushant Sareen, senior fellow ORF, is also with us. Sushant, the spotlight on radical left, far left, as Donald Trump himself described, too many opinions on social media as well in America about how this is a fight for America itself. Whatever is transpiring in America almost has a lesson for everybody else as well, including for us here in India, about political violence and who's more bigoted or who's more insecure, intolerant, the left or the right?
You know, Shivani, it's quite clear to me that the leftists are far more intolerant, and in fact, liberal extremism is an oxymoron, but I think it kind of sums up what kind of people we are dealing with. The fact of the matter remains that, this entire cancel culture, that I know what is right, anybody else, if I don't agree with your views, I'll cancel you, I'll dox you. And this is not just the far left. This is even the so-called middle of the road people, university professors. You ask kids who go to Western universities now, there was a time there used to be a spirited debate. There was a very vigorous kind of intellectual effervescence in these universities. People could argue various positions and not be doxed for it. Today, if you are going to toe a line with which your professor does not agree, you're not going to pass the paper, or you'll get a C. And it's happened to many, many kids I know of. So you have created a climate of intolerance in universities. You have created a climate of intolerance in the public square where you simply cannot have a debate. See, Shivani, I might not agree with Ambassador Sajjanar, I might not agree with you. We'll debate and we'll still remain friends. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? But I don't think people on the left end of the spectrum even are willing to engage in a debate
with anybody on the right or those who they disagree with. Actually, that's what's even more telling as far as this assassination is concerned, Ashok Sajjanar, is actually the fact that Charlie Kirk was not one of those individuals who used to name call or, who was very rabid in his views. Maybe some people may feel so, but he was known for the fact that he would go to university campuses and actually engage with debate with students and others on issues that they didn't see eye to eye on. The fact that he's the one who's being assassinated just goes on to show how disrupted the American system has become. And it's a warning for everybody.
No, absolutely. You're very right, Shivani. First of all, thank you for inviting me. Yes, you're very right. I think it's also a symbol of the deep polarization and the deep fissures that have come into the United States at this moment. And, meaning we are talking about the United States where it is extremely pronounced. But I think in many other societies also the polarization is huge. But I totally agree with you. As far as Charlie Kirk is concerned, he was willing to debate. He was holding on to his own views. But then he was not trying to impose those views on others. He was willing to debate. He was willing to hear the other people out and willing to respond. So I think in that sense, having a dialogue, having a debate, to be able to, you might at the end of it agree to disagree, because that is the way that you do, you go about it. But here, silencing that voice, and we've seen in the United States, because this happened in the US, but it's happened in other places also. But the rise of wokeism, the political violence, the political assassination, for instance, I was reading seeing a figure, more than 300 political assassinations have taken place over the last 3 odd years in the United States. Now, that is huge, meaning even as far as Trump himself as a candidate, he was shot twice. And, one, he was, just 2 inches or centimeters away from the bullet getting onto his, to his head. and the other, of course, he was saved by the federal agents.
You know, the fact that all of this is happening in America, what does it say, Sushant Sareen? Because, you know, this was the beacon of liberal democracy, land of the free, the brave. Today, you know, America, whether it's race issues, social issues, crime issues, the whole gun issue, for example, in America has been such a sore. And now it has come to the point where people are just picking up a gun and killing whoever they don't agree with. Nobody should have to die for an opinion, for heaven's sake.
See, Shivani, it's not just in America. Look at Britain. Britain is a classical fascist society today. You express an opinion which the state does not agree with, they'll put you in jail, right? This never used to happen in Britain. In India, in the past, if you expressed an opinion which the established leftist, centrist order did not agree with, you were doxxed. So this has been a problem. It's there in Europe. It's re-emerged in a major way because that order, that so-called liberal order, which is very illiberal as it turns out, is being challenged. But in the US, it becomes even worse because you have a lot of hate. You have a lot of polarization, political and social polarization. And on top of that, you have the deadly cocktail in which you mix in guns, where everybody is carrying a gun. Nobody is willing to listen to anybody else. And if you don't like somebody's views, you, as you very correctly said, you pull out a gun and you shoot him dead. That's the end of the argument. This was not supposed to be like this, not just in the United States, anywhere in the world.
Yes.
From liberal order. But that liberal order is actually a very illiberal order. Just look at Britain. It is shocking what Britain has turned out under not just the Labour Party, which is of course leftist and completely loony, but you look at the Conservatives. They were doing the same thing. I don't have to agree with the English Defence League or, you know, the right-wing characters. I don't have to agree with everything they say, but they have a point of view. The moment you express that point of view, the moment you say, I do not want migrants in a particular region for a variety of reasons, you can be doxxed, you can lose your job.
You can be called a Nazi. It's very easy to just call everyone a Nazi.
Name calling is the easiest thing to do. But the thing is that the state cracks down, puts you in jail. There are people who have been jailed for expressing a view. How easy is that? Is that what the liberal order is all about? And then these guys, when they point a finger to us and tell us that there is a democracy deficit in India, it makes me want to laugh at their face. What kind of people are they?
No, one of the reasons why we're shining a spotlight on what's happening in America is because, yes, as I said, it was supposed to be the beacon of democracy and a model for everybody, everyone else in the world, but that's surely not what is transpiring. But I will say, Sushant, before I move on to the other big story we're tracking from the US, is that they say that the liberal order is liberal as long as it is not being challenged by anyone. Your cornerstone of, you know, how liberal you are can only be attested when, you know, you are being challenged and how accepting you are of that challenge. But now that there is a very, very vocal right that has emerged because of social media and otherwise because of the, you know, medium available apart from conservative or, you know, more legacy media, today there is a fight. When there is no fight, it's very easy to be liberal and to espouse liberal values. But stay with me, gentlemen. While Charlie Kirk's killing has sent shockwaves across the globe, it's not the only case making headlines in USA. A shocking act of violence aboard a Charlotte light rail train has sparked a nationwide debate between security protocols, mental health oversight, and safety of America's transit systems. On August 22, a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Iryna Zarutska, who fled her war-torn homeland seeking peace, was fatally stabbed in an unprovoked attack while riding the Lynx Blue Line in Charlotte, North Carolina. Zarutska was working at a local pizzeria and attending community college. She dreamed of becoming a veterinary assistant one day. Back in Kiev, Zarutska had earned a degree in art and restoration from a college and was known for her passionate and vibrant artwork, but her dreams have been cut short. Now, Elon Musk has pledged $1 million to fund murals across the United States in memory of Iryna Zarutska. AI-generated images of these murals in honor of the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee are making rounds on social media as anger over the brutal killing continues to rage on. More and more CEOs are coming forward in support of the initiative. Co-founder of Intercom and creator of FinAI has offered $500,000 to fund murals across major US cities. This is just to show how opinion is changing and how sentiment on the ground is becoming very, very clear. But here's what transpired on the fateful evening. On the night of August 22, Zarutska was riding the train home from a job at a pizzeria in Charlotte when she was stabbed to death. The accused, 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr., a homeless man with long-standing criminal history, was sitting behind her when he attacked her with a knife without any provocation of any kind. CCTV footage of Zarutska's final moments in the train shows accused pulled out a pocket knife, stabbed her in the neck without any interaction or provocation. She was stabbed thrice in the neck before she succumbed to the injuries. Her assailant was arrested upon exiting the train and charged with first-degree murder. But people are also commenting about how nobody else in that train came out to help her. Why is this case leading to widespread condemnation of Democrat and liberal-led policies over crime? Is because this wasn't the only crime that accused DeCarlos Brown Jr. had been charged for. He was first arrested on juvenile charges in 2007, and 3 years later, he was nabbed once again for felony larceny, a serious theft offense. In 2013, he was convicted of armed robbery and threats and was sentenced to 6-year prison term in 2015. From 2021 to 2022, multiple cases of domestic violence were reported against him, including an assault on his own sister. In January this year, DeCarlos Brown Jr. was arrested for misusing emergency services. Many believe this could have been the point that he should have faced more sterner action, permanent action, something that could have prevented the killing of the 23-year-old Ukrainian. The accused is now under medical observation for competency evaluation, a move that should have taken place following his calls to emergency services, claiming there were materials in his head. What are these materials that the accused is referring to? Recalling the incident, the accused told his sister that he hurt his hand while stabbing the victim and that he had never spoken a word to her, but somehow she was reading his mind. He further said, why would someone stab someone for no reason, in a tone that he was surprised that someone else made him do it. He added that the materials in his head had lashed out at the victim. Attention has turned on the judge who let this career criminal out and agencies who have been batting for lax rules and reducing populations in jails, even if it involves hardened and repeat offenders. Congressman Tim Moore, who's representing North Carolina's 14th congressional district, has called for the removal of Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes, who released this 14-time offender. He says this tragedy was preventable. There must be accountability. North Carolinians deserve better.
Too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, and now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are.
Calling the crime disgraceful and unforgivable, FBI Director Kash Patel has assured that central agency is working to ensure justice is served. He also stated that the perpetrator would never be allowed to walk free again. Patel thanked Attorney General Pam Bondi for delivering federal charges against the suspect and added, "We will seek the maximum penalty for this unforgivable crime and he will never again see the light of the day as a free man." But here is another American commentator who has linked the killings of Kirk and Zarutska, mentioning the attempt of assassination on then presidential nominee Trump himself. He has, like many other commentators and the administration itself in US, blamed the far left for the violence, calling the media complicit as well. Just a snapshot of the sentiment that is prevailing in America. With that, I want to go back across to our guests who continue to be with us. Sushant Sareen, look at this crime. Armless girl on a ride back home from her job is brutally knifed in her neck without any provocation. And this is a career criminal who's been let loose repeatedly. Apparently, the judge who gave him a release did not even have a law degree or did not even pass a bar exam. People are calling it a DEI hire. You know, this is worse than a third world country.
Yeah, it is. And frankly, if you look at some of the inner cities in the United States, it doesn't really look like it's the most powerful country in the world, in any manner. And the fact of the matter remains that the criminal justice system in the United States has completely collapsed. We've seen scenes from various cities. And let me tell you something, Shivani, this is not an unusual case in the sense that somebody with a long rap sheet has been put back on the streets. This is something which had become the new normal in the United States, where actually judges with democratic leanings were actually releasing these kinds of criminals and putting them back on the street. There are hundreds, if not thousands of cases like this. And quite clearly, this is madness. On the face of it is madness, but there is a justification that some of these characters give on a variety of reasons, that, there was accentuating circumstances, there were other problems with people. But even if a guy is, for example, mentally ill, why isn't he in a mental asylum?
Exactly.
Why is he roaming the streets? So, it makes you look askance at the American system and the kind of mindlessness which seems to have guided
some of their policies when it comes to crime and justice. It's almost suicidal to suggest that hardened career criminals should be let back. It's the life of the innocent that has to be prioritized over the welfare of even criminals who may have charges in the past or have served sentences. Yes, reform is possible, but you cannot prioritize their safety or well-being over those of innocents. There is a racial angle as far as this attack is concerned, and that is also dividing America today like never before, because allegedly this man has been heard saying, "I got that white girl," because initially there was an attempt, because of the nature of the criminal and the victim, to suggest that too much is being made out of this crime. Mainstream media is being alleged to have not covered it till it became a big deal on social media. But Ashok Sajjanar, my question to you is this, you look at the dangers in society that some of these policies that are being promoted by these countries, organizations across the world are making dangerous turn they're giving to the life of ordinary citizens. And this is a warning yet again for everybody.
No, absolutely. You're very right, Shivani. This is a warning and this is a risk and there's a threat and danger for everybody. I think what this case truly brings out is that this person was a serial offender. It's not the first time crime that he's doing. It's not the second time. He's been involved in it, as you have, absolutely articulated that for several times. So he's a serial offender. Obviously, the judge who was, whether it's the last one or even the previous ones, there has been no application of might as far as releasing this person is concerned. And, when you are going from, let's say, person is accused of such heinous crimes, obviously the state has to also appeal if there is, the person is going to be let loose. But here it seems to be the person, as you said, the judge, as you said, he was not qualified. So, if he's not qualified enough to adjudicate on this issue, and he can mention all sorts of attenuating circumstances that, we have to take care of this, we have to take care of something else, the information is not available, etc. I think there has to be something else, a body above that, who also has to look at the evidence on the basis of which this decision has been taken.
No,
And
so one is the
obviously,
mindlessness of some of the policies that have been pushed more recently in the last decade or so, and the dangers that other democracies may have if those are replicated, for example, in India. The other point here also is that America, for all of its great values and history, is a very deeply divided society. And for Americans to lecture anybody else, as is happening on social media against Indians, for example, is not sitting very well. They have too much to set right in their own home before lecturing anyone else about what democracy and freedom is. But I'll leave it at that. I do thank both of our guests for joining us. That's a wrap on Plain Speak today. The Right Stand with Anand Narasimhan is coming up next.
Co-powered by. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
BJP attacks Rahul Gandhi over his vote theft claim. Says Rahul Gandhi's international vote theft busted his evidences were not made in India. They were created in system set to Myanmar time zone. Who is the foreign hand behind Rahul Gandhi is a question being asked by the BJP. They further say that the metadata reveals vote Chori PPT was not made by Congress in India. It was first created in Myanmar. Let me go back to my colleague Arun Dhata on this. Arun, that's a big allegation that is coming in from the BJP at this point, saying that as far as the presentation of vote Chori by Rahul Gandhi is concerned, that was not done by Congress party, but there's an external force, an international force behind it.
Well, see, once again, the same point with which BJP has been speaking about Rahul Gandhi is that there is an international hand behind Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party. There is a toolkit which is working. And once again, they are saying that it has been exposed in that press conference which Rahul Gandhi did on 7th of August this year, where he, raised questions about Election Commission and also said that there is a massive vote theft which happened in the country. When he specifically cited an example of a seat in Karnataka, and then of course goes on to speak about Maharashtra and Haryana. And in that regard, now what BJP is alleging is that Rahul Gandhi has done international vote theft, which is part of that international toolkit. They are saying that the PDF files which Rahul Gandhi showed there in that press conference, which is also available on his website, has generated in Myanmar. So they are saying that they have checked the metadata of those PDF files which are there, and those metadata of the PDF file shows that it was generated in Myanmar. It was the time zone of Myanmar where it is generated. These are the allegations.
Arun, I request you to please stay with us, as I'm now joined by BJP leader Shehzad Poonawala on this broadcast. Many thanks, Mr. Shehzad Poonawala, for joining with us. Why does the BJP think that the presentation was made in Myanmar?
It's very clear from the investigative work done by one of the people on social media that how the metadata of the 3 PDF documents which are uploaded by Rahul Gandhi's team have been created in Myanmar. Now the question is that dialogue Rahul Gandhi ने मारा यहाँ पर क्या script विदेश में लिखी गई है क्या? This metadata cannot be changed because Adobe and Google Drives are used, so you can't change it. This is allocated from the system. So the question is that every time Rahul Gandhi brings up an agenda, why is it sponsored by foreign powers or foreign outsourced locations? We know that during parliament sessions, Soros-based reports were quoted to stall parliament session, whether it was Hindenburg, whether it was on vaccines or on other issues. Then we know that Rahul Gandhi goes abroad and he says that, look, India's democracy is over, you must intervene. He has done this on multiple occasions, berating Indian institutions on foreign soil. And now, what we are seeing in our neighborhood, look at that and look at the fact that Rahul Gandhi raises this bogey against our constitutional institutions, and the material is supplied from outside. So Rahul Gandhi, who has immense faith in Videsh and Videshi, who's often found in Malaysia instead of in Punjab and other places, today the question to him is कि क्या डायलॉग आपका स्क्रिप्ट कहीं और की, एक्टिंग आपका डायरेक्शन कहीं और की, राहुल गांधी के पॉलिटिकल इंटरनेट कनेक्शन का वाईफाई कहीं और से जुड़ा हुआ है क्या? राहुल गांधी के पीछे ये फॉरेन हैंड कौन सा है, ये बताना चाहिए।
But Shehzad, not the first time that the BJP is alleging this, that there is an international link to Rahul Gandhi and George Soros. So why is it that the BJP is not investigating into it? Because Congress time and again has been in fact saying that these allegations are nothing but baseless.
No, Congress should come out, first of all, and categorically deny this allegation. They've not done that, point number one. Point number two, when Rahul Gandhi makes all kinds of claims against the Election Commission, he refuses to give it to the affidavit to the Election Commission. On point number three, we have asked that why don't you provide this SIR or the other evidence of Bihar in the Supreme Court? That also they failed to do. And just now you see Madras High Court has rejected all the claims made by Rahul Gandhi in his PowerPoint presentation. In fact, it has fined the petitioner. In Maharashtra also, whatever claims Rahul Gandhi was making, Supreme Court junked it. So Rahul Gandhi is on a credibility test. He has to prove his credibility. He has to show that his connections are not linked. And time and again, Shevin, you know that Rahul Gandhi has gone on foreign soil and has demanded intervention into India's internal affairs and thereby challenged our sovereignty. Has he not said that I want to...
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan, and let's go straight across to this big story, viewers, here on Prime Time. A Pakistan-backed terror module has been dismantled in a major multi-state operation led by the Special Cell of Delhi Police and central agencies. 5 operatives have been arrested with the seizure of bomb-making materials as police say an ISIS-inspired terror nexus has been exposed with its roots across the country. Here is a deep dive. The Delhi police, in coordination with central intelligence agencies, conducted raids across multiple states that has led to the arrest of 5 individuals suspected of being part of an ISIS-inspired terror module. The module is alleged to have been planning terror attacks, including the preparation of improvised explosive devices, possibly chemical bombs, with links to Pakistani handlers. The suspects are under investigation and a variety of incriminating materials have been